Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm coming to you this morning. We're doing the weekly boxing preview. This is for Monday the 7th all the way through Saturday, Sunday the 13th. But everything pretty much, we only have one day of fights that are worth watching. That's, of course, Saturday the 12th. So we're going to see two different cards that day. They're both going to be on ESPN Plus. The first one is coming from the United Kingdom, and that's going to feature the undefeated former world title challenger Anthony Yarde, who's 19-1, 18 knockouts. This guy's he's a very good fighter, and he's, in my opinion, you can argue a top 10 light heavyweight at 175. I have him just out of the top 10, but this dude's good, and I think he's going to be one of the better light heavyweights of the future because, last year, some of you might have seen it, but last August of 2019, he challenged Sergey Kovalev for the WBO light heavyweight title. He was the mandatory number one contender. Now, he won that without really beating anybody significant. So when he went in against Kovalev, he was really an unknown fighter, undefeated, a lot of power, but he hadn't really been tested by anybody even close to Kovalev's talent and pedigree. So, he was coming in kind of a live underdog, but I don't think anybody thought that he was too big of a threat to upend Kovalev, but he was actually boxing well first half of the fight. You could argue he was winning. He had hurt Kovalev a couple times, and he actually almost put Kovalev away in the 7th or 8th round right there. I remember watching that fight. I was at one of my son's tournaments, and, man, it was just a good performance out of him, but he ran out of gas. And Kovalev, who throws a lot of punches, continues to box, broke him down and ended up stopping him in the 11th round, but it was close. It was a very close fight, when that happened, he gave it his all, and, I don't think he had ever been in a 12-round fight before prior to that, but, it was just, I think it was a good learning experience because he's Sergey Kovalev's a three-time world champion, and a veteran, so he fought his ass off, and, he's on his way back here taking on Spellman, some unknown guy named Spellman. This is just a way for him to get a win under his belt, shake off some rust. I got Anthony Yarde winning by knockout. This is the main event of that ESPN Plus card. Not really anybody else worth talking about, but you could check it out. I think the whole thing starts at like 10 or 11 in the morning on ESPN Plus, and then by the time Yarde fights, it's probably going to be mid-afternoon, maybe after 3 o'clock area. So we'll see. Then on later on in the evening on ESPN Plus, you have two fights that are worth talking about, both featuring guys outside of the top 10, but that are very close to making an impact and jumping into the top 10. So we'll start with the undercard with the co-feature. It's going to see former three-time world title challenger Miguel Mariaga taking on what's his name, Joet Gonzalez. This is an interesting fight. Gonzalez is a former world title challenger as well. Mariaga, he's been in the ring with Oscar Valdez, Vasily Lomachenko. He's fought for world titles, came up short. Vasily Lomachenko ate his ass up, but he scored a knockdown against Valdez, and Valdez came back and beat him by a decision. But this dude's a live fighter. He's a good, hard, I think he's from Colombia, a good fighter, taking on Joet Gonzalez, who was, he fought Shakur Stevenson last year for the title and got cleanly outboxed and shut down and shut out in that fight. But Stevenson's one of the best talents in the sport right now and one of the superstars on the rise. So I don't know if it's fair to make an assessment on Gonzalez yet because we haven't really seen enough of him. So it's going to be an interesting battle right here. I really believe the winner of this fight, you can argue, deserves a top 10 spot at featherweight because they're going to fight at featherweight, which is 126, and I really think the winner, is probably going to maybe land a top 10 spot or be tied for a top 10 spot because featherweight's kind of open. These guys both have been there. Now, my prediction on the fight, I really think it's close to a 50-50 fight. Mariaga has been there before. done that. We know how good he is, the level fighter he is. I'm not sure the level fighter of Gonzalez yet, because he hadn't really beaten anybody prior to the Stevenson fight. He was undefeated coming in, and he got shut out against a pure talent in Stevenson. So I really don't know how good he is. But based on experience, I'm going to pick Miguel Marriaga, whatever his first name is. I'm picking Marriaga to win this fight over Gonzalez by a close decision. But I really think it's close to a 50-50 fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzalez pulled off the win. So should be a good one right there, kind of a crossroads fight for both fighters as they try to keep their claim at 126. Then in the main event, you have Aegis Kavaliauskas, the Mean Machine, taking on Michael Zuzki. This is a welterweight matchup. Kavaliauskas fought Terrence Crawford last December and actually had him hurt, and it should have been scored a knockdown. They wrongly didn't score it a knockdown, but it was a moot point because that only pissed Crawford off as he came back and dominated the middle rounds and ended up stopping Kavaliauskas in the ninth. But Kavaliauskas put up a good fight. He really landed good hard shots, was putting pressure on Crawford, and Crawford, for the first time that I can remember, I mean, I've never seen him get knocked down, but that was a knockdown. It should have been scored a knockdown. He was hurt, and Kavaliauskas kept fighting hard and pushing him and really made Crawford step up his game and get him out of there. But good, strong performance. He's returning, trying to get jump right back in the mix. I think he's going to knock Zuzki out in the middle of the later rounds, if not a convincing decision win, and the Mean Machine will be back with force. So that's it. You got ESPN Plus, Anthony Yard against Spellman from the United Kingdom, and then you got Kavaliauskas versus Zuzki, a welterweight showdown, and then Marriaga versus Gonzalez, a featherweight showdown, also on ESPN Plus later on in the evening. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.